What's up, y'all? It's Shuffle. We're doing another hero review today. This is after the recent patch that made Deacon into the endgame boss, essentially, and some other stuff. But I've already talked about the patch for 2 videos, so if you want to go see those, then, you know, they're the most recent ones as of the recording of this. Before we get started, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, leave your thoughts down below in the comments, check out the box for all the cool links, like Discord, Twitter, Twitch, Patreon, and Epic Game Story Code, all that stuff, if you're interested. But we're going to review the classes, because the new patch has been out for a bit now. I've been able to play it and play with the characters, so we're going to like redo the evaluation that I had before, specifically because of the stress balance changes and stuff. And yeah, I'm almost like, I keep wanting to talk about the patch like as a whole, but I've already done that. But mostly the thing that affected the heroes was the stress healing threshold. And that's been detrimental to everyone except Jester. And a Cultist is able to heal all the time, and Highwayman got a slight nerf on take aim that I can remember. Otherwise, mostly positive stuff overall. Good for the game. Causing some issues, but overall it's a step in the right direction. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So Plague Doctor is still a very good character. The reason Plague Doctor is going to be a good character for a long time is just because we don't have a lot of rank 4 dedicated characters. The characters that can be in rank 4 specifically and do stuff that's helpful is limited to pretty much Plague Doctor, a little bit of Grave Robber, and then like maybe a Cultist. Everyone else is either a mid-range or a frontliner. So I mean, you could sit in the back and use Pistol Shot with Dismiss, but not strong enough to warrant that right now. But anyway, so Plague Doctor, Ounce of Prevention's what got nerfed, so upgraded. The ability to heal 1 stress off your entire team is limited to if your team has 5 or more stress, which means she can only get you down to 4. The other benefit of Ounce of Prevention was that by healing the stress of your teammates and also hitting everyone at the same time with a group ability, Plague Doctor could help farm positive relationships with the other 3 heroes, which would get you started. So this move did double duty. It wasn't just the stress healing, it was the ability to farm positive relationships that made this very good. As it is now, this move is honestly not worth running until the very end. The first run I took Plague Doctor on, I did not run this until like the end of the game. Like I maxed it then, or I mastered it then. I used it like once. It did not feel good. Otherwise, Blinding Gas still strong. Noxious is good for damage. Incision really just isn't good unless you're in rank 3. Like that's rank 3 is the only other time you want to put Plague Doctor somewhere. I don't think rank 2 is any good. Battlefield Medicine still a good ability. Plague Grenade, not that strong. Like it's good for a couple bosses and stuff. Vapors actually okay. Disorienting Blast, having a combo into stun when it's upgraded it doesn't feel good. Like I tried to make this move work, it did not feel great. I'm sure other people have had success. And that's something I need to talk about before I get further into this video, is I'm sure that many of you have seen your favorite streamers or YouTubers and stuff, and they've said like X and Y is good, and everything can still be useful in Darkest Dungeon. That's like the beauty of the game. You can still make a lot of things work if you plan around it and try and emphasize it and stuff. But I'm speaking from like a perspective as like a whole thing, like how hard is it to make it as good as it could be, you know? So disorienting is one of those cases. You can stun someone, which is cool, but you have to get the combo on them first, and then you have to hit the stun, you know, if they don't have a dodge, and then it has to stick through their stun resist. The enemies, by and large, feel like they have a decent amount of stun resist this time, so this just doesn't feel strong. This button, though, this button should be in line for a nerf. Indiscriminate Science. This is a great answer. This is like the reason to take Plague Doctor now. It's no longer Ounce of Prevention, it's for Indiscriminate Science. It's not even just the fact that it can heal you for a boatload. Like there are characters such as Highwayman and Man-at-Arms and Leper that can generate a ton of tokens at a time, like per turn, depending on what skills you're using. And this just adds in a bonus healing. So you get the benefit of being able to heal your teammates for more HP, and the more tokens it takes off them, the more healing they get. And also when upgraded, this removes negative tokens. That is what you want. This upgraded is so helpful for characters like Leper who blind themselves constantly, or if your teammates get hit by Weaken or something like that, you can take those off. If the enemy hits you with Taunt, you can take them off. Stun is a token that can be removed by Indiscriminate Science. I'm not going to spoil, but there is a boss that likes to stun the hell out of you now, and this is a great answer to it if Plague Doctor is not locked down for 3 turns like mine was. But there you go. So Indiscriminate Science is very powerful. Even if the healing changed to like half of what it is now, we don't have anything that gives you debuff resist in this game besides trinkets. So having something that can take debuffs off of your teammates is incredibly powerful. Cause of Death I have not used, but I have heard good things about this. So people have built around this move and they've done a lot of really good damage with it. So it's something interesting that I intend to try in the future. And the Magnesium Rain is very strong. This does a couple things. It pings off tokens, it doesn't trigger riposte, it gets rid of bodies, and the damage is okay. Burn by and large is a low resist for the enemies outside of the sprawl. So Magnesium Rain is good. Plague Doctor, still a very powerful character. I don't want to make a tier list of like SA and stuff like that, but honestly, Plague Doctor would be near the top still. She's very strong, and that's mostly because she has no competition, so she can go into most teams very easily. Grave Robber. I feel very bad for this character because she's my favorite character in like the series. I've liked Grave Robber for a long time. She's like a damage dealer that needs combo tokens, so she can't really be a strong damage dealer until like mid to late game. And if you want to go the combo route, there are better uses for combo tokens than giving Grave Robber 50% bonus crit. This is a character like I know other people have made her look good and stuff like that, and I've had success with her, don't get me wrong, but just having to set combos on people for her, like she's already kind of fast, so it's like she has to do the combo thing the turn after. It's not fun. Shadow Fade, they just, I don't know what happened to this move. They just made it really bad now. Lunge, like she just doesn't do a lot of damage, you know? And then they nerfed her survivability through Absinthe, which this needed to get changed, don't get me wrong. Absinthe was broken, so it had to get changed. So what do you have left of this character? Like you can get around block. Block's not really an issue because you have poison darts, so you can like ping off block tokens and still do damage, which is nice. Glint in the Dark, this move just doesn't really have a use right now. The only really dangerous stealth enemy that I can even think of, like how many enemies have stealth besides the music box guy? I'm asking honestly, I cannot think of another one offhand that has stealth. And the music box dude sits in rank 4. So you can't even hit rank 4. This is the issue Stealth Breakers had in the first game. You couldn't hit rank 4 where most of the stealth enemies like to be. So this doesn't do what it needs to do, which sucks. So this isn't that good. Lunge is average. And the core issue of Grave Robber is that for a lot of her cool effects to go off, she has to get into stealth. Shadow Fade even upgraded. I don't remember, I can't remember what the upgrade is. I remember it essentially like did nothing is what it felt like. I don't know if it gave you like a speed token or something, but Shadow Fade, it puts you in stealth, and then, you know, you get your ignores effects and stuff like that, which is okay, but really you just get, what is it? You get Lunge and Repartee, or whatever, however you say this. Those are like your big moves to get out of stealth. You don't want to use this in rank 3, because a lot of enemies can't hit rank 3. They like to hit the front line. So what do you Shadow Fade into Repartee, and like then Lunge with your taunt tokens up. Like she's a 3-turn character now, which you really, when someone, I hate making comparisons like this to other characters. When someone like Highwayman exists, Highwayman is a 2-turn character. It's take aim and duelist advance, take aim and shoot, take aim and do something else. Grave Robber is a 3-turn character. It feels bad. It feels very bad. Like Hellion is big move, toe-to-toe, big move, toe-to-toe, Revelry, toe-to-toe, like clear-winded all the time, that kind of stuff. And Grave Robber is a 3-turn character. But as much as Lunge doesn't feel like a strong move, especially because ganking rank 3 isn't a big deal anymore, like it's not the same imperative it was in the first game, she has Pirouette. Pirouette is a good move. So it's a cleave, but it's a cleave that does pretty good damage. You know, 4 to 7, split across 2 targets at 10 crits, not bad. You get dodge, and she dazes herself, and she goes back 3. So you could do another 3-turn cycle of like pirouettes, poison darts, lunge, and then pirouette afterwards, something like that. So those are options there. But Grave Robber, I would say, is actually not in a great spot. She is mostly like, you can do a dance thing, which it doesn't feel like you need to yet. It does feel a bit difficult to pull off now. It doesn't feel like you need to. So really the character's still good with just Poison Darts, Absinthe, and Dead of Night. Using Repartee, this is a fun move. I do like the idea of tank Grave Robber, or tank robber, grave tank, whatever you want to call her. But she has damage over time, so she doesn't really need to scale with anything here. Then she has 2 heals, then she has a taunt. So she can keep herself alive and still do consistent damage through DOT, which is cool. That's a fun way to play. Is it better than Hellion as a tank, or Man-at-Arms, or Leper? So overall, Grave Robber is a character right now that is a pretty average damage dealer. Her damage comes from critting later in the game when you have combo setup, which, you know, there are other characters that make better use of combo right now. And so the other playstyle she has is trying to do shenanigans by going into stealth and tanking. And she cannot go into stealth easily by herself and still be in a good spot. Her best way into stealth right now is Dead of Night, but that means you have to kill something. So if you don't kill something that leaves a corpse that she can eat, or whatever you want to call it, then she kind of slows down. Like, this stealth tank playstyle just doesn't take off. So the way to make it work is to get like a trinket that gives her stealth, or I think there's a quirk called Sneaky or something like that, that she has a chance to be stealth or whatever. You need those, because otherwise going into stealth with Dead of Night and Shadow Fade is just too slow and not as consistent as it could be. Again, like I said, I know there's a character I'm sure people have seen do good things, and I know she still can do good things, but it's clunky. It doesn't flow. Characters like Highwayman flow. She does not, and it makes me sad. Speaking of Highwayman, this character is nuts. So he doesn't even need Wicked Slice, dude. Wicked Slice is actually pretty good in this game. He doesn't need it. But between his reach with Pistol Shot, Wicked Slice, his melee, double tap, stuff like that, open main, he has a lot of damage options. Dual Savants upgraded gives him dodge, which is awesome. And like I said, he gets riposte tokens off Pistol Shot if they're comboed, which is nice. Take Aim. Even though Take Aim got nerfed to 1 dodge token, Take Aim is still really freaking good. This thing is like the backbone of Highwayman now. It just, like I said, he's a 2-turn character. You shoot something, or you Dual Savants, then you Take Aim. Or you Take Aim and then do something else. When you get up front, you can Take Aim and then point blank for like massive damage. I think it goes to 10 to 13 upgraded. Very strong. Take Aim and double tap. Take Aim and open vein for longer bleed chance. Like, Take Aim is insane. It is so good. Tracking Shot actually feels terrible just as a button. I don't know, like it's much better to just ping off a button doing something, or a token doing something else, especially because Tracking Shot doesn't need to do damage. Why doesn't this do 2 damage? Because if it did 2 damage, it could still at least like check Death's Door or something, but it can't. Just nothing. Feels bad. But Take Aim. I keep saying it. The other thing that's really good is Highway Robbery. This upgraded steals 2 tokens. Insane. Like, you can, it's so fun to play around Highway Robbery. So you get an enemy, you know, it gets like 3 or 4 buff tokens, and you're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna like take your 2 block tokens, or maybe I'll take your riposte token and your dodge or something like that. And this really keeps Highwayman's momentum or tempo, whatever you want to call it, high. And enemies that can stack tokens very quickly, Evangelist comes to mind, being able to give itself crit and dodge at the same time, just, that's mine. Sorry. Take it. I love it. It's so good. Double tap is interesting. It gets bonus damage when they're low HP. This is a great boss killing move. This is just Wicked Slice with execute damage bonus. I like that a lot. The ignoring 10 death blow against 20, I think this gets upgraded to 30. This has more crit too, but consistency is nice too. And the ability to guarantee yourself crit tokens means that bonus crit on Highwayman isn't actually as important. It's still good, but especially in the early game, but later when you can upgrade Take Aim and just, you know, stack crit tokens, then his base crit chance doesn't matter as much. And that means the double tap gets pretty good. So if you want a good boss killing move, you have this. Double Cross is interesting for some synergy, like setting up big hits like Leper or Howling End from Hellion. So you can just, you know, hit the combo token if you need to, like for Leper and Blind, and then hit him with a vulnerable because Highwayman's fast enough to go before those characters, and then just give the other person a crit token, either from a trinket or an ability or something like that, quirk. You know, there are a lot of ways to get it, and then just massive damage. So Highwayman has a lot of utility this time, and he can still put out really good damage through Take Aim. They lowered his riposte counterattack damage, but that doesn't really matter as much considering he can just give himself crit all the time. So this is a very strong character. He can go in any team, he can do a ton of damage, he can steal tokens later on. Like utility. That's something Highwayman was missing in the first game, was utility. He has utility now. So Highwayman's very good. Man-at-Arms. Man-at-Arms is pretty nuts. The bolster change means that, what is it? It's guaranteed stress removal off 2 people, which is nice. You don't have to upgrade it for that either, which is also cool. Command, really nice to get rid of blind tokens. This helps Leper specifically, or other characters. Blind's very common from the enemy. But Bellow has some interesting synergy. Removing Riposte is nice because Riposte is pretty annoying on enemies like the big Forest Knight. I forget what his name is, but he uses On Guard. Gives itself block and riposte. You can remove that. And also there's some fun synergy with stuff like Runaway. It's not that strong, but you can do like Firestarter and then Bellow and just create your own fire-breathing dragon because it hits the entire enemy team and burns them. That kind of stuff is cool, but speed doesn't feel as important in this game as it did in the first one. It's still important, but not as important. And not many enemies can riposte. This move feels like it'll be very good when the entire game is out, but right now it's not that strong. Rampart, not bad. Defender's still good. Crush, really nice to hit rank 3. Finish off enemies. Retribution, especially upgraded, is nuts. This move is very powerful. They lowered his riposte damage as well, I believe, and that really doesn't matter. The fact that he can taunt himself and give himself block later on doing this means it's such an efficient use of your turn. Like, would you trade, like, would you use a button? Would you hit a button, right? A button, a noble, simple button, like Retribution, and say, I press this one button, I do nothing really this turn, but I get 2 attacks for doing this, like, later. That's good. So Retribution is very powerful. I'm surprised this hasn't been nerfed. I don't know how you would nerf this, honestly, besides giving you, like, 1 riposte instead of 2. If it was 1, it would actually kind of suck. I hesitate to use that word, but I don't know. This is the reason you take this character with Retribution and Bolster. Standfast is interesting. Courageous Abandon is interesting too. It's kind of weird because if you're stacking block on Man-at-Arms, you want him to get hit. Why stack block and not hit someone? Like, if you want to do a big damage hit, pick someone with less setup like Leper or Hellion or Highwayman instead of something that requires you to, like, build up a ton of block tokens and then hit them. This is kind of nice because at least it gives you a tempo move to dump your block tokens later on, but that's about it. Strategic Withdrawal, actually a cool move. It sets a combo token on the enemy without upgrade. So if you wanted to, you could withdraw and then upgrade Rampart and get the stun combo. Like, just, he can set his own stuns up and dance. Never thought I'd see the day of Dance Man-at-Arms, but it's here. Otherwise, Man-at-Arms, very strong character, can fit into most teams. Actually, pretty much any team very easily. And between Bolster and Retribution alone, he offers quite a lot. And he has some pretty good trinkets, if I remember correctly. So Man-at-Arms, good character. Hellion, very, very bad with the base kit. These 5 abilities, only really one of them's good, and that's Toe-to-Toe. Toe-to-Toe's okay without upgrade. Upgraded Toe-to-Toe's insane. So when it gets upgraded, it removes winded tokens, which is very helpful. And even though you can't use Revelry, like, spammed to keep your stress low, so Hellion has become not the strongest stress healer in the game, she can still keep herself alive. The fact that she can force enemies to hit her consistently through Toe-to-Toe and clear her winded tokens by doing it later on, and with Adrenaline Rush and Revelry, this character can keep getting herself hit, and it's very hard to kill her. Between Adrenaline Rush giving her extra healing for hitting stuff, and then Revelry having a short cooldown, this character is very hard to kill. Like, just get Focus Fire, she has to get hit with the damage over time effect, and then she has to, like, lose the 15, 10, 20% death blow chance. That's really the only way to kill this character right now. So she's still very good. Bleed Out, people have been saying why use Bleed Out when Howling End exists. There are a few reasons. One, the enemy can get a block token. Bleed Out's much better against block tokens. Bleed Out when it crits does a lot of damage, which is nice. Some enemies get multiple actions, very few, but some of them do. So there's that. And also she can scale her damage off Bloodlust if you want to go that way. And if you want to do like Bloodlust, or I should say Bleed Out, Bloodlust, and then Howling End, you can set up a lot of damage over 3 turns. I don't like the 3-turn combo. We talked about that with Grave Robber, but you have that option. Hellion can go into pretty much any team very easily. You just put her up front. She probably, like, she almost needs rank 1. So leave her there. You can put her in rank 2 and Toe-to-Toe at some point. But otherwise, you really need to get the unlocks if you want this character to feel good. So you need Toe-to-Toe, Revelry, and like Hellion. You need these 3 to make this character feel really good. Adrenaline's also good, but I think Hellion's in a good place. Like overall, I think she's in a good place. We just need to up the damage on these, and if it bleeds. If we can up the damage on these 3 moves, this doesn't even have to be usable from 1. I wish it was, but it doesn't. But if you have these 3 and upgrade the damage, then she'll feel a little more cohesive, because right now she feels horrible starting and then she gets better later. Runaway. This is my my pick for busted, like the most busted character that we are going to get, and she's not. But Smokescreen is ridiculous, so upgrade this soon, probably your first, not the Valley Inn, but the inn after. This gives you, I believe, combo and vulnerable with the 2 blind. All that's really good. So you get Smokescreen, running high, gives you restoration when it's upgraded, which is nice. Hearthlight removes blind on your team, IIRC, but her damage moves are kind of weak overall. This character is more of a utility character the more you play her. So Searing Strike, Firefly, and Ransack are all meh. Ransack I kind of like just because you can move her around, which is cool. Cauterize is actually a very good heal. Bleed is common. I think Bleed pops up in every zone, like it has the potential to. It's probably by design to make her, you know, seem useful. Control Burn is fun. I don't know if it's good, but it's fun. Dragonfly, like Dragonfly and Ransack, is nice for some consistent damage, especially if you need to cleave stuff. Firestarter is really, really fun to combo with. So you just pick moves like Magnesium Rain, Bellow, or Abyssal Artillery, for instance, and you use Firestarter and get some really good damage. So, good move. Backdraft is interesting, but I don't know how important cleave damage is anymore. Like, there are some fights where it's needed, but why set up Backdraft when you set up Cause of Death? I'm not sure. I know Backdraft can do good things, but I don't know. I feel like the core of this character right now is Smokescreen, Cauterize, and like Firestarter. These 3 abilities feel the best. So she's interesting. She's definitely a utility character. You probably put her in the middle of your party. She can do stuff like dance. The dance utility is nice, and she can keep people alive and herself with Run and Hide. So good character. Next up is Jester. Jester is a very, 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 very fun character this time. So good job, Red Hook. It's no longer buffbot.exe. With Jester, he is so good, and he can fit into most teams. He sets combo with Razor's Wit and Fade to Black. These are both really good moves. Slice Off later on gives Vuln, which is very powerful. I don't even have all his stuff unlocked, so I know Encore gives the unit an extra action, which I've heard nothing but good things, so that's really cool. I'm excited to play with that. But what makes Jester really fun is his ability to pretty much make any team into a dance team. I know he has the music theme, so saying a dance team seems a bit, like low-hanging fruit. But between Playout and Battle Ballad, being able to move people around, these 2 moves are so fun. And having the ability to fix positioning, there are some fights where this matters a lot. It's not even just the buffs they give, it's the fact that you can just move people and get them into safe positions. That makes Jester very good. Finale, the thing I don't like as much about Finale is, yes, he can set his own combo token, so he kind of like builds it himself. It's not like the first game where, since it had the 1 use per battle thing, you just charge it up and then decide when to fire it. It's got the cooldown this time. So with Jester, you can use this more frequently, and this can get up to like 30, 40 damage and stuff like that, which is good. That's actually very good damage, and that makes it cool. Is it worth it? Hard to say right now. But Harvest, if you look at Harvest, remember If It Bleeds being 2 to 4 with 5 crit from 2 to 3 for 1 target, and then Harvest is literally the same stats, but it hits both targets. What is that? Why does this exist? Why? I don't know. Anyway, so Jester's a combo machine, and if you want to use combo characters like Leper, for instance, or Grave Robber, Jester's very good for that. But Inspiring Tune, it's kind of nice this got changed. The stress, let me see if I can say it. The stress threshold is what this needed, because it felt too clunky and slow and bad before. And at 5, just a simple change of 5. 1 stress lower, alongside the other stress nerfs that came through for Hellion and Man-at-Arms and PD. This has become probably the best stress healing move in the game, and Jester has become the best stress healer. So in a way it's nice, in a way it kind of sucks too, because in Darkest Dungeon 1 people slam this button all the time, and now we're back to slamming this button. But there are ways to mitigate stress besides stress healers. There's laudanum, there are certain things it ends, for instance, or certain events, I believe, and just having positive relations in general can help you a lot. So there are ways around stress healing that you don't really need to bring a stress healer, but Jester just makes it easy, and being able to move your team is very fun. So I think Jester's just in a great spot. I think he's very powerful. I definitely think he's one of the best in the game, and he's a combo machine, and most characters can find use for combo tokens. So Jester fits into most teams very easily. I like to put Jester in 3 to open with Fade to Black, but you don't have to. But yeah, so Jester, just really good character. Can't say enough good stuff about him. Leper. Leper, also a very, very good character. With Leper, there's some interesting stuff. I got a YouTube comment. I forgot the name, so I apologize. But there are trinkets that give you like crit tokens on miss, for instance, or just effects on miss. And Hugh missing twice gives you 2 of those tokens. That's pretty interesting. Otherwise, Chop is nice to have, but you really can't press it much until you get some mastery upgrades, and this ignores blind then. Purge, still really good to get rid of corpses. They didn't change it, so it has to hit to remove corpses, which is nice. I'm expecting that to get changed at some point, but until then, we can use Purge to get rid of our own blind tokens and get rid of corpses, and hopefully hit something. It's got a lot of purpose there. Withstand is still one of the best buttons on the bar. Solemnity, very powerful, especially with the stress healer nerfs. Reflection, also powerful with the stress healing nerfs. Hugh, we talked about. Hugh's okay. Pretty solid damage. Revenge, pretty nice. Intimidate, good. Ruin can get some really good numbers. So if you want to just go absolute giga damaged Leper at the end of the game, then, you know, get Ruin and stuff. Break doesn't feel amazing. There aren't too many enemies that prot stack, or should say like block stack in this game. And then we have, what's this, Bash? I don't know. Maybe I need to play with Bash more. But otherwise, Leper, really, really good overall. Can go into pretty much any team. Most characters are very flexible in this game, which is nice. There's only 9 of them so far. But with Leper, I think I said in the last video, he starts off as a tank, where you're just hitting Withstand and Reflection and then chopping something at the end of the fight. And, you know, maybe you get lucky and, you know, blind yourself on turn 1, and then you can use Chop then. So Leper starts off as a tank, but then mid-game to late game, he can become a damage dealer if you have combos and Chop is upgraded. So still fantastic character. Leper's still one of the best. Cultist. Reconstruction is still bad. Even though you can use it endlessly, the issue with Reconstruction is you want to heal when someone's at half. This is how you played a Cultist in the first game. You heal when they're at half or like 60%. You do not heal when they're low life, because the Cultist can screw you. And Red Hook just made it so the worst case scenario for his heal is the scenario that you're always in, if you want to use it. And that feels very bad. So you don't really need this button. It's nice in a pinch, but honestly, the last time I ran a Cultist, I didn't use it, and I didn't really notice the difference. Really good with Runaway though. So if you have Runaway with Cauterize to cure bleed and heal, that's some good synergy. Weakening Curse is a very good move. Vuln Hex is very good. Roof Spaghetti, Redemption Arc. This move is very strong just because it doesn't really have a damage penalty anymore. And then you can do things like we were talking about, combo with Firestarter, for instance. And I believe when you have combo tokens and this is upgraded, it has like a chance to stun or something, which is ridiculous. Binding Shadows. I did not expect this move to exist. So Cultist has a dance move, so he can actually fix himself a little bit, which is kind of nice. It gives him the unchecked power token, which is cool. Malediction, really fun, probably if you use Cause of Death. And I believe upgraded this is 2 damage. That's okay. You can't pick the damage you're doing. So some enemies have higher resist for bleed, blight, or burn than the other two. So if you just get, you know, repeated burn checks in the sprawl, you're gonna feel very bad. Anamnesis is doesn't feel that good right now. Again, a cause of death build maybe, but there's only one boss fight that I can think of where cleaving the entire enemy team would actually be very good, and in the recent update that is a bad strategy. So I don't know when you're supposed to use this now. Burning Stars though. Burning Stars is some of the most fun I have had in this game. A Cultist with like a range damage trinket, just like a 20%, 15% range damage trinket, and Burning Stars, especially upgraded, you're just doing like 25 damage. No joke. You're doing like 20 to like 40 damage or something like that. You crit for like 47 or whatever it is. I forget the exact numbers, obviously, but this hits very hard, and you can use it every other turn, which is pretty cool because you have Chaotic Offering. Chaotic Offering is a great ability. I was wondering how the unchecked power stuff would work, because hitting enemies that have combo tokens with Sack Staff feels kind of weak. Binding Shadows feels kind of slow because you have to have dance stuff. This just gives you a second unchecked power token on turn 2. So you hit this turn 1, you get your first one, turn 2 rolls around, you get your second one, and then you can use Burning Stars, and you get a total of 4 until this comes back up. So you can, for every one of these you hit, you get 2 Burning Stars. Really good use of your time. So Cultist is actually a pretty solid damage dealer. So if you want to go like hyper carry a Cultist, you can do that. So if you want to give him some damage, extra actions and stuff like that, I believe the extra action procs from trinkets do not give him unchecked power, so understand that. Until you get the rest of a Cultist unlocks, you can actually do a lot of good stuff with just Artillery, Weakening Curse, and Vuln Hex. This is the first one you get. So a Cultist has some good stuff. I forgot how Damon's Pull. Clearing Corpses is still good in this game. It's actually better in this game than it was in the first one. And you set combo on them. Pretty good. So Cultist, for the most part, feels pretty strong. I wish Sack Stab hit for like a point higher. And I wish this threshold was like 50. And then I think a Cultist would be in a pretty good spot. So Cultist can go into most teams. I would not call him a healer. I would not use this tag to describe this character. Offensive support, yes. Back rank damage, range damage, yes. Healer, no. He just happens to have one. Put him with Runaway and Cauterize. I don't know if Runaway is a front rank. She's like a mid range. But anyway, yeah. So that's it for the video. I know it's a bit longer than last time. I didn't want it to be this long, but whatever. So yeah, good patch overall so far. Characters feel pretty good, except for a couple things that I talked about in this video. And too soon for a tier list. I want the first game to like come out, or the final product I should say, before I really want to do something like that. But yeah, so that's it for this one. Like I said, if you enjoyed the video, leave your thoughts, likes, check out the box, all that stuff. And yeah, I can't think of what else is coming up right offhand, so I'm just gonna end the video. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.